guys, Garrett here. I'll be going over the Prime Cengtergy in this video, and I'm going to give you my thoughts, basically my review. And I haven't really done bow reviews in the past, mainly because my train of thought is if I like a bow or I want to go shoot it, I'm interested in it, I don't care what you think, I'm going to go shoot it and form my own opinion on it. So that's really my take on bow reviews, but I've had a few people request what I honestly think about the bow. But my video here is not going to be of me shooting this bow. I've had this bow for about a month, the Prime Cengtergy here, and I've really gotten to know this bow. I've been working with pro staffer on learning how to shoot it and what it likes and some of the features it has. And he's been really great in helping me really work into this bow for my halon. And I will give you some real world numbers of arrows that I've shot. I can see all these arrows over here. I've worked up so many arrows in all different grains and weights and stuff like that, a few different spines, and I'm going to give you hopefully the closest real world review that you can get of the Prime Cengtergy for the arrows that you're going to be hunting with, and also 3D, because I've been working up some really light arrows as well. So when I bought this bow, the marketing is what got me. It was 49% up to 49% steadier than other bows on the market, and I'm a sucker for accuracy, obviously, as we all are. And if I'm steadier on the target, that's just going to increase my accuracy if I can have a good shot process. So I bought the bow, and almost immediately I could tell it was steadier, but I didn't know how much steadier it was than my halon. And I did a previous video of me shooting a target with lasers mounted to the bow, and this bow actually beat the halon on that day. It was a great video for me to really show myself that I did make a good purchase in the Centergy as far as getting what I was getting advertised to. And now I'm curious, is the bow faster, slower, about the same as the halon as far as arrow speeds? And I have a ton of arrows, like I said. I'm going to go through the speeds real quick. I have them all wrote down. But some things about this bow that I really like, it's the back wall. That was what really attracted me to this bow, is the back wall. The halon's a little spongy on the back. I like a firmer back wall, kind of like on the Defiant turbos and stuff like that. They got a really solid back wall. The BTX has a good back wall. I'm going to compare this to a BTX back wall or a Prime or a turbo Defiant back wall. It's just boom, it's there. You're not going any farther back. There's really no sponge, but it has a nicer valley than the Defiant turbo, and I would say just really similar to the BTX. Man, it is so close as far as the draw cycle goes. Some guys are thinking this is a harsh draw cycle. My thing with draw cycles is, and I was talking to another guy about this the other day, is unless the draw cycle completely sucks, after a week or two, you're going to be used to the bow, used to the draw cycle. Your body's going to be knowing when to put all that pressure or when to pull and when to kind of slow down and work your way into the back wall. You're going to get used to a draw. So my point is unless it completely sucks, then the draw cycle really isn't that important to me. If I can draw it back nice and smooth every time and find the same anchor and get that back wall and just everything works on the draw, I really honestly don't care too much about the draw. The only thing that would deter me from it is if it really is aggressive and it's just wanting to go the whole time. And if the let off isn't there, then hey, that's not really my thing. I like a higher let off. This thing came at 75%. I moved it up to 80, and I shoot it so much better 80 than I do 74, 75% where it came at. But that's my take on the draw. So another couple things that I like about this bow is the 82X riser. I've never shot a 82X riser aluminum bow before. That's basically just an upgraded aluminum, and it really is just as quiet or quieter than the halon. There's less hand shock, or just as much hand shock as the halon, which is so small. There's not much hand shock at all. You really have to look for it and be nitpicky about it. Some other things is that it is lighter, and I'm comparing this to my halon mostly because that's the bow I've been shooting so much, is that it is almost a third of a pound lighter than the halon, yet it is steadier, it is quieter, and it is just as smooth on the shot. You're not feeling hardly any shock from the shot. So that's a win in my opinion, and I've carried this thing around on a 3D course. My buddy and I went down to a 3D course, basically paid, and we had the whole course to ourselves, and I shot a whole round with it. And the first time I shot this bow at a 3D course, I was just a little under my halon scores, so if I shoot this bow a little bit more, I'll get it up there or even better. But it was much nicer to pack around being lighter, and if I can have a lighter bow that steadies just as good as a heavier bow, then that's a win for me as well. Now, as far as being faster, that is the really cool thing about this bow. And I was talking to the pro staffer tonight about it, and I just really, kind of connected a few dots in my own brain. So the bow retains its IBO retention speeds really well. So where an average bow loses 8 to 10 feet per second, this is going to, on average, keep 5 feet per second per inch that you go down from 30 inches. So what that means is that if I shoot IBO specs and I drop that thing down to 28 inches from 30, I'll lose about 10 feet per second instead of about 20 to 18. So I found that to be very accurate with this bow. But another thing that I found testing all these arrow weights is the heavier the arrow, the better it still retains that speed. So the Halon shooting a heavier arrow will slow down more than this bow, which I thought was really cool. And I was going to do that on video and make this video a side-by-side comparison for speeds against the Halon, but unfortunately somebody felt they needed my Halon more than I did, and they went in my garage and stole it about 3 days ago. So big bummer there, but it is what it is, unfortunately. But this bow will shoot a heavier arrow faster than the Halon and a lighter arrow slower, which really I've never ran into that, but I've never shot this type of bow before. This is a newer brand and everything. They've only been around for, 6 or 8 years to the best of my knowledge. So that is a really, really cool feature. So I'm shooting a heavier arrow in that 280 to 290 area that I'm really wanting to stick with. So I'm going to shoot a 456 grain arrow, 287 feet per second, which is perfect for my bow hunting speeds. The broadheads tune just fine. They tune great right there in that little area. I don't have really any problems with speed there. I maintain a lot of energy. I'm really excited about using a new arrow this year. It's an Easton arrow. That's a limited edition, and I'm really excited about using that arrow because I've never shot a heavy arrow that fast. Shooting the 407 grain, well, I'll get into it here in a second, but shooting a 430 grain, 420 grain Easton 345 millimeter axis, that's about the tipping point to where the Prime starts shooting just as fast as the Halon. So once you start shooting over about 430 grains, for me, from what I found, this bow starts shooting faster. But if you're shooting about a 400 to a 420 grain arrow, the Halon will shoot faster, which is, like I said, really unique. But so that's my opinion of the bow. One thing I don't like about the bow, and I've been tweaking with it and working on it, is that the limb pockets creak, and they do that a lot. And I've been messing with the screws because I heard the screws could be basically getting broken and stuff, and getting broke in and having a break-in period. But after about 500 to 600 arrows, it's still doing it. I backed the screws and really kept messing with that, but it's still there, and it's bothering me. So I don't know if the other ones on the market are doing that, if it's just this bow, but this is my first Prime, and I don't like that that they creak. And I can do a video on that too, but that is something that my Prime is doing. The Halon would kind of have a creep or a creak sound as well, but it was intermittent, and it was coming from, I think, the roller, but I don't really know. I couldn't pinpoint it, but this one's definitely coming from the screws or the limb pockets. So that is something to look out for. Outside of that, the bow is fantastic, and I really love this bow. I shoot really accurately with it. I feel steadier. It's easier to stay on target. And with the ability to change let-offs, which I've never had that ability to do, just by changing these two backstop screws up or down, you can change the let-off, but it will mess with your draw length a little bit. And then you have to mess with your peep a little bit to make sure that you're anchoring the same and that you're looking through the peep the same and everything. So that's something to look out for too. That's my honest review of the bow, of how it shoots, what to look out for, and what I really like about it. So I'm going to give you some real world bow weights, or bow grain overall weights of the arrows, and then I'll give you the real world speeds. We'll start with this one. This is a 5 millimeter 340 axis. It weighs 407 grains with a 100 grain tip, and it was shooting 295 feet per second. When you when you make this arrow to a 431 grain arrow, it shot 290, which I thought was pretty good. That's not bad. My Halon was shooting a 420 grain arrow, 294 feet per second to 292 feet per second. So that's right there on that edge of when the Prime starts beating the Halon for speed. Next arrow would be a Carbon Tech Cheetah, and this is a super light 3D shooting arrow I'm really new to this arrow. This is the first time I've worked up a batch. But this arrow overall weight with a 100 grain tip is 333 grains and shoots 322 feet per second. If you had 125 grain tip on there, about 356 grains overall weight, it shoots about 311 feet per second, which is plenty fast. That's a fast arrow. And I have not tried tuning any of these arrows, but from what I've heard, it should tune all these arrows just fine. That's one of the perks about the Prime, from what I've heard, is that they tune really easily. So these are the 450 grain, 456 grain arrows that I'll be shooting. They are badass. They are Autumn Orange limited edition Eastons. They're 10.6 grains per inch. They come in right at 456 grains with a 100 grain tip. And they shot 287 to 285 feet per second. There's a little bit of a variance there. But that's right where I want to be for my hunting setup. It'll pretty much kill anything in North America right there. And not a problem shooting this arrow. I really liked it. I shot this arrow indoors, shooting a Vegas 3 spot the other day for the first time I was practicing. And with this arrow in my hunting setup, a 7-pin, I was shooting, I shot a 290, which was my very first time shooting a Vegas 3 spot, and I was just practicing. So, very good arrow, and I really like the speeds out of that. Next would be a full metal jacket. And this one will weigh 476 grains, and it will shoot 282 feet per second. So I'm still shooting a plenty heavy arrow, and I'm in that 280 to 290 range. I don't use full metal jackets for hunting because they've always just been a little too heavy for me. I want to stay between 420 and 450. That's just kind of like that area that I like. Mainly because it slows down my bow too much. I want to be above that 280. But I would shoot this arrow now with the Prime. This arrow, I believe, was shooting 276 out of my Halon, somewhere thereabouts, and so the Prime is shooting this arrow faster. Then we will go to the 503 grain arrow. This has a 75 grain brass insert mixed with a 500 mixed with a 125 grain tip, wraps and vanes, and I was shooting that arrow 271 feet per second. I think my Halon was about 5 to 10 feet per second slower than that. So it really starts out shining the Halon speeds there. And I just think it's fantastic how it maintains speeds with a heavier arrow. I've never ran into a bow that's done that. Really, really, really cool. So 503 grains, 271 feet per second. And that really, that's about 7 arrows there that I've got, that combinations that I've got that have shot. So I'm shooting anywhere from 322 feet per second with a 333 grain arrow. I'm going to move that up to a 356 so I can be above that IBO arrow. And if I did shoot that, I'd drop my poundage down to about 65 pounds. And then I'll shoot about 311 with it. But and then I'll shoot a 503 grain arrow again at 271 feet per second. So that is my review, and those are the real world feet per second for hunting setups, and a couple light arrows for 3D if you're shooting 3D. I hope this video is what you guys were looking for. It's the best honest review that I can think of, and I will come out with a bunch of other videos of me doing really cool things with this Centergy, and I'm really excited to get to learn this bow even better and become even more accurate with it. I think it's going to be an awesome bow, and I'll just see you guys on the next one. Subscribe if you want to see more, and give me a thumbs up because I had a lot of fun making this, and no one else has done a video like this on YouTube of the Centergy doing a review with all the bow speeds or arrow speeds. So again, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.